Hello, hello. It's your boy Kendall. Thank you so much for clicking on this video, guys. Shout out to all you major minds out there. Just wanted to open it up with a quick, brief introduction. Today we're going to talk about budgeting. I'm just going to give you a real brief, concise, but impactful overview as far as looking at your financial future, looking at how to plan out your finances, and to just kind of give you a mindset and a framework to work with. I wanted to assure you before we get started that each part of the budget that we're going to go through, in the future we will go through in much more detail to get more specifics, and I'm going to give you more examples and such like that. But today I wanted to again give you a framework and a mindset to look at budgeting and to look at your financial future, just to kind of get you on track. Also, this whole thing is out of focus. Just slightly out of focus. Par for the course, it happens when you have nobody behind the camera. I forgot to flick the autofocus switch, but nevertheless, you'll definitely still be able to follow along very easily. The audio was nice and crisp, and I still think that it's a very important and impactful video for a lot of people out there. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much. And now, let's get to it. Somebody told me that the Bible was a treasure map. I couldn't find the X, I had to find new legs. Needed my mind to snap. I wouldn't mind if you beg, your mind will bend. I'm bending it till it cracks. I got some time to spend, I'll begin to drive you into the madness. On your mental to sadness, you get the quiver like Cadmus. Gun to your temple is tragic, you hear the words of Damascus. Locked up in the safe, it's some plays, I'm a lone star. Yeah, in some spots I wouldn't say, I'm a lone star. Yup, there's some shots I couldn't take, I'm a lone star. I got rocks for rainy days, I'm a lone star. Just because I say budgeting for beginners doesn't mean you're a beginner at making money or beginner at handling your money. It just means you're beginning actually working out a physical budget, and on top of that, most importantly, following that budget. So as we go through this, I'm going to do more than just give you a budget. I'm also going to give you a mindset in which to look at that budget, a framework in which to interpret that budget, just like you would a map. Because a map is no good if you can't read it, if you can't interpret it. So we're going to do the same thing with a budget. As well as, I'm going to give you one fundamental rule from which to look at everything with. Okay? So let's get started. As we do this, keep in mind, guys, my whole philosophy is I have a major mindset. It's always been my code. We're going to focus on the major things. The minor things will fall in line when you focus on the major things. So let's keep a major mind. So let's start with the budget itself. I'm going to give you a very simple, clean-cut budget that I learned years ago. It's a tip for you guys to read. Why? Because this is coming from Richest Man in Babylon. Fantastic book, very short, concise, and to the point. And in that book, they detail a very specific budget that is the basis for what we're going to talk about here. So here's the budget. 70%, 20%, and 10%. You keep 10% of your money to yourself. That means every time you get paid, you take 10% and you put it away, never to be touched. It doesn't mean that you're going to save it for next week. It doesn't mean that you're going to save it for tomorrow. It means you're going to put it away somewhere that you're not going to touch. Even for even for like an emergency fund. It's not your emergency fund. We're going to talk about that, but the key is you're keeping 10% for yourself, your future, your family, whatever you're going to need. You're not going to touch that money for a very long time. I would suggest taking that 10% and putting it somewhere that has hoops, as I like to call it. For example, an investment account. It's not so easy to pull money out of an investment account, or your IRA, for example. It's not so easy to pull money out of an IRA. It's easy, but it takes days. You're not going to feel like that money is as accessible as if it was just in your checking account and you could just spend it. Or in your savings account where you're one transfer away or a withdrawal away from having that money. You need to put some barriers to guard yourself. Because the fundamental rule that we're going to go with here is pay yourself first. That's the fundamental rule. Pay yourself first. When you get a check, you take some of that check and you pay yourself. And nobody gets to touch that money but you. Because guess what? When you go out there and you buy groceries, somebody else is getting your money. You're paying somebody else your money. When you go out there and you spend money on clothes or anything like that and you're not producing it yourself, so you're paying for somebody else. So you're going to pay yourself first with this 10%. In reality, is saving 10% of your income enough to become rich or enough to retire? Not really. Not really. But that's not the idea, because in reality, what we're going to do with the rest of the 90% is a little bit more flexible. The key here, though, is pay yourself first. Now, the 20% is going to go to debt. And now you're going to start to understand why I say the rest of this is sort of flexible, because maybe not everybody has 20% of their income that has to go to debt. But this is what we're going to do. 20% debt. Okay? 20% to debt. So if you owe anybody, you're going to pay them off, because the sooner you can pay them off, the faster you can continue to pay yourself, because in the future, you would love to put more than 10% away. You really should be putting more like 25% of your money, even half of your money away for yourself. And then you can use more than 10. Then that 40% over the 10 you already put away, you can use towards other things like investing, building a business, so on and so forth. But the key here is when you're in debt, student loan debt, credit card debt, car debt, make sure 20% of your income is paying off that debt. Meaning, let's say we have $1,000. Say we have $1,000 that we just got in a check this week. $100 is immediately going to go to ourselves. $100 is immediately going to go to ourselves. In a savings account, investment account, bye-bye, not going to see you again for a very long time. You're going to treat it like you only have $900, right? You're not going to factor into your brain the $100 that you put away. You see 1,000, 10% just disappeared. Call it a tax, right? Call it a tax. It just disappeared. You have no control over it. Bye-bye, gone. You're working with $900. Now let's say your car payment is more than 20%. Make your car payment, right? But let's say your car payment is less than 20%. You have credit card debt. Let's say your car payment is $150. Take that other $50 and apply it to some of your credit card debt. Make sure you're maxing out that 20% unless you have to go further. The 70% is going to go to living expenses, your family. Food, clothing, shelter, etc. Rent. Your car payment is kind of a flexible one. It's kind of in between debt and what you need to live. So where you categorize that is up to you. I'm not big on telling you how to live your life. This is not something you have to do. This is something that'll benefit you if you're trying to sort something out, right? You're trying to sort out this money thing, right? So you prioritize making sure your family's eating well, making sure you're healthy, making sure you have a gym membership or whatever you need, making sure you have all your medications if you have medications, making sure you have good clothes. And by good clothes, I mean good clothes. Clothes that will allow you to be presentable out here in the world. You should always put your best foot forward in life. Doesn't mean spend useless money on clothes. It means make sure that you are getting high quality clothes that are going to last you a while and keep you looking good for as long as you can, so that you can go out in the world with confidence, with professionalism, and people will look at you as if you are somebody to be trusted and somebody to work with, instead of other stereotypes that they may put on you just by how you dress or how you present yourself. So 70% of your money goes to keeping you sharp, keeping your family happy, keeping your health, your body healthy, keeping you looking good, keeping your spirits up. If you have to buy books, I buy tons of books. If I was to spin this camera over there, you see a ton of my books. Spend 70% of your income getting your mind, body, and soul right. Now, remember, this is nuanced, because you want to pay off this debt as soon as possible. You don't want to owe anybody. So what happens when you pay off your debt? That 20% should immediately turn into investments. I would say at the very least, take 5% of that 20 that we just saved. We just saved 20, we're out of debt. I'm gonna take 5% of that, put it in the save category. So now I'm saving 15% of my income. And I'm gonna take the remainder of that 15% that I saved from paying off my debt, and I'm gonna use that to invest. So that's funding my IRA now, even heavier. If your IRA is funded fully, or if you're not big on the IRA and for a 401k or whatever you want to do, then get a stock account and invest in that. Or if you have aspirations to build a business, start setting that money aside towards building your business and getting that going, 15%, and still use that 70. Now, I've been in situations where I didn't need 70% of my income to do everything that I'm doing to live right, to keep my mind, body, and soul right. I didn't necessarily need 70% of my income. And you guys will find as your income goes up, that 70% is a bigger number. You may not need to live off of that, because lifestyle inflation is something you should always be worried about. Meaning, as your income goes up, your lifestyle goes up to match, and you never actually benefit financially from making more money other than buying more stuff and living a more flashy lifestyle. Don't do that. If you make more money, pay yourself first. Remember, that is the fundamental rule. When you make more money, try to keep your lifestyle as similar as you can. You know, obviously enjoy yourself, but keep your lifestyle as similar as you can. Live off of roughly the same amount of money, and all that extra should be going in your back pocket and going into your businesses and what you need to do. So you'll find that you may not need to save or spend 70% of your income on your living expenses and your lifestyle expenses. I hope you don't. I really do. I hope you can get that number down to 50, 40, 30%. And you can use most of your income into generating more income for you. Because remember, you guys, the money you save isn't just money you save. It's opportunity down the road. It's not just opportunity for you, because you may be able to retire. You may be able to buy something nice, like a house or a car. You may be able to pay for your kids' college. Or further than that, you'll be able to give your grandkids money. Leave something behind. Leave something behind. We have to make sure that if we're going to create more wealth, if we're going to be the first generation of wealth in our family, that means we have to pass something down. I know becoming any sort of wealthy for me is always going to be difficult, because I have no familiarity, whatever, mess that word up, with it from how I grew up, because I grew up in poverty. So this is all new to me, but if I make it familiar to my kin and to my next generation and to their next generation, we can all grow. It'll be so much easier for us. So budgeting is important, you guys. This is extremely important. It goes a hell of a long way for somebody who is just starting a new job or never had this much money before. Maybe you've always, had a job and you worked and you lived, but now you're making more money and you don't know what to do with it. This is a perfect time to really grind a budget out. Now, there's one other thing that I want to talk about. It's not just about budgeting, but following the budget, because this is hard for people, and this was hard for me. You can set a budget and not follow it, or you can set a budget and forget to follow it. It's very easy, because you can do all of this on paper and say, this is what I'm going to do this month, because you want to time it, right? You want to say, all right, this is what I want to spend over this month, or this is what I'm going to spend this week. This is how I'm allocating funds this week, this month. But if you don't consistently do that and you don't look back and see whether or not you did it, you're not going to know where you're going in life. So have a spending log. This is my key. This is like a little secret. You need a budget and you need a spending log. I do Excel or Google Sheets for my spending log. So every week I tally up what I spent money on, like to the penny. Credit cards, whatever I spent, I tally it up, and then I track that back to my budget, and I say, does this fit my budget? Did I spend accordingly to my budget? If I did, fantastic. But what I also gonna do is I'm gonna look through how I spent my money and look for opportunities to save, to spend my money more wisely. These things go hand in hand, because now you have an exponential growth of financial literacy and financial comfort. Budget, spending log. Now, for those of you who lasted this long into the video, first of all, thank you so much. If you enjoyed, hit the like, subscribe, share this video, bring people to us, our Major Minds YouTube channel, our website, kfchattman.com. And all this stuff, guys, I just hope to make your mind grow, your confidence grow, your wallet grow, and your wardrobe grow. Speaking of which, for those of you who made it this long, quick wardrobe check. So today, I've got my, let's start with the watch. I've got my vintage Omega. It's a 70s watch. It's kind of hard to tell. It's a 70s watch. It's got a day date function. It's an automatic. I absolutely love this watch. It's about 35 millimeters. Really, really small, but I got small wrists, so it makes perfect sense for me. I have my custom-made dress shirt here, all white. It's got a nice pattern that I picked. This is made by Rocco's here in Worcester. I absolutely love this with the French cuffs. You can see I got the monogram with my initials on this cuff. Speaking of the cuffs, got nice little cufflinks in here. Kind of hard to see. Kind of hard to see. Nice cufflinks in here. Gold cufflinks with the tiger eye in the middle. Very nice. Got a nice silk tie here. I believe I got this tie from Rocco's as well. And then we have the tie clip here. This is a gold tie clip. You can get this at kfchattman.com. Actually, we sell this, where we also offer other services and other products. You can see I have nice black trousers on with the black leather belt, and this is the Hermes belt, so I have the nice gold H there in the middle. And I'm not wearing any shoes because why would I wear shoes right now? Alright guys, thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Thank you.